Welcome to Anti-Fiction. This is a weekly nonfiction podcast where each week I, Christian Yates, pick a theme and then invite two guest hosts to come and talk about stories related to that theme. My guest hosts this week are Tweedledee, Matt Yates.
Hello.
And Tweedledum, Patrick Taylor.
Hello.
That's the best I could come up with. I even had some time, and I still didn't come up with a better nickname or a better way to introduce you guys than that.
Let's get that off our shoulders now. This is a re-record.
Yes, yeah. Thank you everyone for your patience in the release of this episode. We had some technical difficulties with the first one, but we have figured it out. We are recording with brand new recording equipment.
We decided to use Audacity instead.
That is false. I'd like to put that out there.
We have some animosity between the audition and Audacity.
Between recording like a caveman and recording with professional.
It's a heated debate.
Professional equipment and programming.
Also, I will just point out that we have
one of them is a potato
an actual
program.
live audience, and that's pretty cool.
Right.
So anyway, so I have brought you guys here to discuss this week's topic, which is heists, which is, pretty cool. Heists are cool. People who rob people are cool, I guess.
We're going to glorify that.
We're going to glorify that
I do not condemn, nor do I condone thievery. Sometimes it's necessary. All you have to do is lose your chains. Thank you.
Free your mind.
Right.
This brought to you by NBC's The More You Know.
Insert jingle here.
Boom, boom. I don't know. We'll get sued.
Yeah,
for that.
we can't even.
I'm pretty sure it's free.
So I'll get started. I'll read mine. So mine is a relatively famous, unfamous casino robbery. So let me set the scene for you.
Are you about to tell me the entire story of Ocean's 11?
No, I'm not. So okay.
What about Ocean's 12?
So you're familiar with Ocean's 11, though?
Of course.
In the movie where he's trying to pitch his idea to the guy, and he's like, "Let me tell you why your idea wouldn't work. Here are the top 5 casino robberies of all time." And then, why those robberies failed. He doesn't even mention this one. And it happened 9 years before that movie was filmed.
Huh.
So I'm like, okay. So
well, wait. So spoilers? Does it fail?
No. It's the best casino robbery of all time.
Oh,
well, that's why he didn't list it, because it didn't fail.
Well,
yeah.
But if he was trying to I don't know. He just doesn't mention this one. Maybe it doesn't happen in that universe, that film universe. I don't know.
Also fair.
So let me set the scene. We are at the Stardust Resort and Casino, Las Vegas, Nevada. 1992. By this point, Bill Brennan had been working at the casino for about 4 years, and he was described as a quiet person who usually kept to himself. Basically, all he did was work and then go home and play with his cat.
Same.
So, normal dude, whatever. So in the early morning, on September 22nd, 1992, Bill Brennan walked out of the casino with $507,361 in cash and chips.
That's a lot of money.
That's a shitload of money. That is...
And chips.
Right. Especially at a
and
time where
chips.
gas is only $2.
Chips. It said chips.
Not potato chips.
Dang,
Right.
you took
Yeah.
my
Could you
joke
imagine
away before I could even make it?
How much would $500,000 of potato chips weigh?
No, not
Yeah.
like potato chips. I was just going to ask, the brand. Were they Pringles? Were they Lay's?
Are you a wavy guy?
They're actually Let's potato chips.
Ooh,
Let's.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So he just literally, when I say walked out, that's the best guess, because police and security analysts were unable to determine where he exited the building or where he went after, because even though every inch of the casino floor is under video surveillance at all times, Brennan did not appear on any cameras. So we assume he just walked the fuck out of this place, but he does not appear on any video surveillance whatsoever.
Clearly, he's a wizard.
Right.
Yes. He's the guy from he's Hayden Christensen in Jumper.
No, it's Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes, there
That's
you
what
go.
it is.
There
It's
you go.
Chris Angel, Mind Freak.
The greatest magician.
Freak.
So interesting math. Here we go. The lowest weight that a bag containing $500,000 could weigh is 11 pounds. Now, and that's assuming that it was all in like $100 bills, although casinos often deal in smaller bills, and there were chips involved as well, which means that the bag could have weighed up to 50 pounds.
It's like a small child.
Yeah. It is. It's like
Carrying a baby of money.
It's like stealing
the
babies.
police said that the resulting bag could have potentially looked like someone trying to smuggle a microwave out of the casino.
Where you going with that microwave, buddy? Oh, I gotta replace the one in the break room. They said I could have the old one.
The plug's not working. I've just got to go up to the break room and heat my burrito. Like, deuces.
What's the duffel bag for? No reason.
That's got my microwave in it. How you carry?
Right.
Don't you carry your microwave like that?
So imagine Bill Brennan. I imagine at this point, a little frantically, waddling through the casino,
Frantically.
holding a bag
Like the penguin.
the size of a microwave, which contains
Probably
all the money
weighing-
in the casino.
Probably weighing as much of a microwave.
Right? Well,
Right.
50 pounds would have been the most.
How much does a microwave weigh?
I don't know, about 350?
Enough to break the ice.
That was a South
Wow,
Park
I
joke.
love how both of you. one of you South Park joke pickup line. It says a lot, but no.
Yeah, well.
Like with the weight of 2 microwaves.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
Siri,
What's
how
your
much does a
microwave
weigh?
superpower? It can weigh as much as 2 microwaves.
What is your superpower? I can pick up things with my mind, but they only can weigh as much as a microwave.
So now the crime itself, that was on September the 22nd, right? So it's interesting to point out that this took place on the Tuesday following a Giants-Bears game on Monday Night Football. So this kind of suggests that maybe the heist was pre-planned because the Stardust Casino was a big sports betting place. So they would have been taking in a bunch of bets for the Giants-Bears game for Monday Night Football. And then those bets, then any people who won money, those would have been paid out Tuesday morning. So the fact that in the wee hours of the morning on Tuesday, September 22nd, Bill Brennan walks out with all this cash suggests it's pre-planned because it would have been one of the highest cash volume days of the entire year. And, he would have waited for all of this bet money to come in and then take it and leave. Some staff at the Stardust had also noticed that Brennan had recently become friendly with a big bettor who no one was able to ID.
By the name of George Clooney.
It was not George Clooney or Danny
or
Ocean.
Brad Pitt.
Also, I hate to say this, a microwave weighs up to 40 pounds. So he literally
It would have been
carrying a microwave.
literally a microwave. There you go. Thank you, Siri.
You're welcome.
So he made friends with this big bettor shortly before the heist occurred, and nobody in the casino was able to ID the man by name. Nobody knew his name. They just knew that he was fucking shady as hell.
It's my Tinder profile.
That's just a picture of you. It says
Right.
shady as hell. You
Big
get
bettor, shady as hell.
You get matches left and right. They're into bad boys. What can you say?
The bettor also disappeared from the Vegas sports game following the heist, which is a little suspect. That's
Probably assuming also with $250,000.
yeah, right, in cash and chips.
Right.
So this gave way to one of the main theories, which was that Brennan had fallen under the spell of some criminal who had encouraged him to commit the robbery And it was also theorized that he had paid off security personnel, although there was no evidence of it. So not only that, so there was like a service exit which had a security guard, right? And I mean, in addition to the fact that fucking everything was monitored, right? So they would have seen him go into this service exit, and then he would have been encountered with a guard, and the guard would have been like, "Why the fuck are you taking the microwave?" And then
I told you, they said I could have the old one.
And then he would have been like, "Here's a little something for your trouble."
And if you take, and on a completely unrelated note, if you let me pass, you can have these 3 chips I found on the ground.
Right.
Have a good night.
That's what it would have had to be. Like, but there was no evidence of any kind of bribery or payoff or anything.
You know what that means? Whoever he paid off is good at shutting their mouth.
We ain't got no snitches.
Ain't no snitches in my workplace.
So police suspected that he probably had to have had an accomplice on the outside because this person would have had to help him launder the chips. But...
Or that's how he paid off the people inside.
Or that's how he paid off the people inside. That is fair because then they could have just fucked off and gone over to one of the tables.
Right.
And like, 10,000 down. I got this from Bill. Except for they're better at shutting their mouths than I am.
No, I didn't get this from Bill.
I didn't get this from Bill. 10,000 down. All on black. Don't look back.
Jack.
Yeah, I don't know how to gamble.
Going.
I don't know what the gambling terms are.
No, you actually
That
did
sounds
all
right.
of them. You did. You're
Yeah,
good.
man.
Yeah.
It was just roulette, I think, is what you were playing.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I didn't hear the clicking of the wheel, though, so it could be anything.
All right, that's a 17. Hit me!
Blackjack, you're still good at... you say you don't gamble, but you know a lot of
I can
terms.
bullshit my way through any conversation, as this podcast has proven. So they thought that maybe he had an accomplice on the outside, but that seemed unlikely because Brennan assumed all of the risk if this heist went south, right? If he got caught, the partner was facing nothing. Like,
yeah.
he could be like, "Oh no, Joe Smith is my partner," and they'd be like, "Yeah, all right, fuck you, buddy, lock him up." Like, that's it. So they thought that maybe either the better that he had become friendly with, or his partner on the outside, or some other outside influence. Aliens. They thought maybe that Brennan had some kind of connection to organized crime. Which sounds maybe a little outrageous until you learn that the Stardust Casino itself was later found to have mob connections.
Great.
Right? So, presumably...
I'm assuming they dabbled in sports betting then, like...
No, they were totally into just like getting cocaine and hookers.
Right.
Hell yeah, man.
And on the side,
illegal drugs.
they'd taken a bunch of money for the Bears-Giants game.
Right.
But there was no real like connection to prove that maybe he had organized crime ties, other than the fact that the casino itself later was shown to have those ties. But so it could have been like the mob itself that the Stardust was involved with, like they were trying to like, make a big dick move or something, like
it's big dick energy, man.
Right? Like, "Oh, you're not gonna pay this month, all right," and then like, they tricked Bill Brennan into fucking robbing the casino or whatever. Or it could have been like a rival crime organization who was like, we don't like this casino siding with our rival crime organization, so we're gonna fuck them over. It could have been any number of things, and there's no way to prove any of it.
It's like the outsiders. Just fuck them up.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous. There's no leads. Brennan, it could have been any connection whatsoever. But they thought that maybe he also could have been coerced into cooperating and then killed right after, which is why nobody's heard from him since. That's another important thing. Nobody's heard from him since.
Oh, good.
He walked out of this casino.
Brennan, if you're listening.
He walked out of this casino September 22nd, 1992, and has never been seen or heard from again.
So I'm assuming he didn't hand in a 2-week.
He did not. No.
He really did walk out of that job.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Everybody's dream.
Not a good reference.
He
never
really
gonna get
burned
another
that
job.
bridge.
He really did.
So
Brendan,
apparently
he
had
he didn't give us 2 weeks notice, and then he fucking stole from us like a lot of money.
Do we fire him or do I call him? Was it a no call, no show?
I had read, though, he was trying to get more responsibility. He was looking to become a manager, right?
Right, so he'd know more.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah.
he'd be able to take $1 million.
Right? So I got a theory that's going to kick in a second, but I got to tell you one more thing for it to make sense. So when they searched his apartment, he and the cat that I told you about that he loved, right? He and his cat were long gone. But what they did find in his apartment were several books on the subject of changing one's identity.
Ooh.
Right? So here's what police...
The cat was the mastermind.
The cat may have been the master. It could have been like that movie Cats and Dogs.
Or Ratatouille. Maybe the cat was making the calls the entire time. Catatouille.
Catatouille. Catsachusets. Anyway, so they think that probably what could have happened is he walked out with all this money, went back to his apartment, got his new identity together, and then fled the country.
What if his fake identity was his real identity?
That's my fucking theory, right? So what I'm thinking is, what if he changed his identity, got this job, and spent 4 years learning the business so he could figure out what are the highest cash days of the year?
I mean, that's great and everything, but $500,000 for 4 years of work, you'd be able to work for 4 years and make almost $500,000.
Not working a table at a casino.
Right. Well, but seriously, especially if you're paying people off, and if the big better, he gets half of it. That's $250,000.
That's true. Plus taxes,
right? Right. That's state money,
right? After tax, that's really only like $300,000 anyway.
Right. So you're only pulling,
But so nobody knows what happened to Bill Brennan. The case has since been kind of semi-closed. Nobody's looking for Bill Brennan anymore.
Maybe everyone's involved.
The Stardust Casino itself no longer exists. It was demolished in 2007. That's why we can't have nice things. And the cash was never recovered. Brennan was never found. I read an article that said nobody is looking for Brennan to the point where he could literally go down to the empty lot where the Stardust used to stand and dance around in its ashes, and nobody would say boo about it. Nobody would think twice because nobody's looking for him anymore. Nobody's looking for him. And yeah, that's it. That's the whole story. Investigators are looking for any leads. If you have any tips on where Bill Brennan could be, or who he could be, or where he could be,
or how he could be,
or why he could be.
Yeah, it's like anything, because they have literally nothing to go on for the last 26 years.
I mean, but to sit back and live a life of luxury, he'd have to go to the smallest city, the smallest town in Iowa.
Why would he stay in America?
Yeah, why would he stay? Yeah, why would he not go somewhere where the American dollar goes a little further?
I mean, maybe a little bit further, but
no.
I don't know. $500,000, assuming he has all $500,000.
When was this again?
1992.
So
the dollar was worth a little bit more.
Just a little bit.
92 is still a big difference. That was literally 16 years ago.
Let's say it doubles though. Why go through that effort for $1 million?
I don't remember what time it is. No, I said I don't remember what I said. Nor do I care. Hi, welcome to a podcast about me eating rice.
Shall we begin?
Always.
But so yeah, that's the story.
That's wild.
He's in the wind. We'll never hear from Bill Brennan ever again.
If that's his real name.
Even if that's even his real name.
10 out of 10 was not his real name.
What if his name is actually Brennan Williams? Everybody's just looking for his name backwards. FBI, if you're clearly listening to this, because you're obviously always watching something that I do, look into that lead, and then go ahead and credit me with that. I'd love for a job. I know you're having some problems finding hackers that don't smoke weed.
So anyway, Matt, you've got a story to share with us.
I do indeed, and it is to be considered the biggest and most sensational bank robbery in the crime history of Kerala, India.
Okay, I want to start your story with asking a question. How big is the bank robbery crime history?
Not very big.
Okay, but this is the largest one.
Right. And it's honestly like I love this story. It's fantastic. So to set the scene, in Kerala, the Malappuram district. If I'm mispronouncing that, yell at me later.
Entire week to look up pronunciations.
Listen, we got a listener in India.
Right. Please correct me.
Tweet us or email us.
It's the last time I'm going to say the word.
Antifictioncast@gmail.com. So
anyway, so the Bank of Kerala sits in a high-rise building on the second floor, and that is very important for the nature of the height.
Who puts a bank on the second floor of a building?
I'm assuming anyone who wants to get robbed, because 4 men in Kerala bought the first floor.
Okay,
right, under the ruse that they were setting up a restaurant.
What's the restaurant called?
It doesn't say that in the story.
Listen, it was a ruse,
right? It was all a ruse.
It was called La Ruse.
Yeah, La Ruse.
It's a traditional French restaurant in Kerala, India.
Puzzle. I think that'd be
puzzles. That's the puzzle. But anyway, there is a 4-member gang rented the restaurant space by giving them an advance payment of about 50,000 rupees, and so they shut down the front door, placing a sign on the outside that said it was under renovation, but also a sign that said this will be a restaurant that is totally a thing that will happen or something along those lines. So really they were just trolling everyone to begin with. But they really committed to the whole restaurant renovation idea. They were bringing in furniture. They had construction.
They were setting up a real restaurant.
They were really trying to convince.
If they hadn't robbed a bank on the second floor, then they probably could have started a very successful chain.
Right? Yeah. I mean, halfway through, you're like, man, we could actually just make the money doing this. Right?
During our grand opening.
But anyway,
prices are a steal.
Oh my God, it's like highway robbery,
bank robbery. I'm more like it.
Ding. So they were really trying to put on this facade, and meanwhile they were cutting a hole in the back room's ceiling, because that was exactly where the bank vault was located, was right over top of them.
In the bank here.
I mean, I'm assuming that they went in there at like 4 in the morning.
Do you think somebody just sits in the vault? You work at a bank. You should know this. Does anyone actually sit in the vault?
Yeah, what time do people leave the bank?
If my manager is listening, absolutely, I don't just sit in the vault all day. But if my manager's not listening, I sit in that vault so much, and I just sit there.
I just count the money.
And I don't even do that. That would be my job.
I'd say about an average each week, Bob. I do about 4 hours at work.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they were secretly cutting a large hole in the ceiling of their fake restaurant to get into the vault of the bank above them.
Okay.
And here's the thing. Inside that vault was about 80 kilograms of gold and 5 million.
I don't know what a kilogram is. Can you give me that in the American measurements?
It's a lot of weight.
It's actually fewer, right? It's fewer in pounds.
No,
I couldn't.
No, it would be more pounds. It would be
how many kilograms are in a pound?
176 pounds.
Yeah, it would be 176
Thank
pounds.
You. 176 pounds.
Yeah, it's almost doubling it.
That's
it's just over doubling it. But so it's nearly 200 pounds of gold. and 5 million rupees, which at the time, like it translated to 80 million rupees, which in Patrick, for you, American dollars,
Thank you.
You know, a little bit over $1 million.
Thank you.
But
we're an American podcast. We don't have to go
right.
with the rest of the world.
We are
even
global,
if they're right.
though,
Well, we just
so-
lost all of our international listeners.
Right, so that's good.
Are
But
we-
anyway, as
I can't
a
say that with a straight face. Sorry.
as a business semi-professional myself, the return on investment for this this heist currently, because they put in about 50,000 rupees at the beginning of it,
Right.
you know,
Can you
and,
give me
and
that?
flipping
To
that,
open a restaurant.
flipping
Can
that
you give
into
that to me in American again?
I cannot.
50,000 rupees? Is
So
that like $5 in American?
right, yeah, they totally opened a restaurant for $5.
That's a heck of a.
It was a Little Caesars, and
They sell
Right.
one pizza, they're done. They already paid their money back. Everything is profit.
Right.
At
right, open Little Caesars, profit.
that. Sorry. Continue.
I don't know that any Little Caesars manager has ever said that before, ever. But okay.
So it's like 100 and how much? It's like 4 microwaves worth of gold.
So yeah, they stole
Weight-wise,
4
gotcha.
microwaves of gold.
Okay,
like,
yeah, that's a unit I
pound-wise.
can understand.
Now you're speaking my language. So with the investigation, though, they put, they immediately put their best investigator on the case. But, the 4-man group, they had thought about this a little bit, and they decided to leave a few red herrings across everything. They had like a communist manifesto in their in like the back room of the restaurant or something to make them think that they had some
And
sort
a
of
bust of
insurgency.
Karl Marx.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to make them
All
think
you
that
have
it
to
was.
lose is your chains. What would you like this evening? Welcome
Rice.
to Red's Diner.
Welcome to Carl's.
Also, 500,000 rupees. That's what you said, right?
5 million.
Oh, 5 million. Hang on.
Or something.
1, 2,
Wait.
3.
50,000
Yeah,
rupees
5
to
million
open
rupees.
the store.
50,000 rupees
That's what I needed
to
to
5
know.
million rupees. But 80 million in total because of all the gold.
Are you ready? So 50,000 rupees is only $716 in American.
Damn. That's not bad to open up a restaurant.
That's really not
I
bad.
feel like I'm going to move to India and
Yeah.
open a restaurant for
Right.
$1,000.
We could do it. Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Welcome to Carl's. Where all you have to lose is your chains. Is this going to be a dine-in or carry-out?
Probably carry out. So they left red herrings though across
That's the famous dish. Sorry. Continue.
across the
Apologize.
investigative trail. They had the communist just kind of to make them look anti-government, try
Right.
to establish some sort of connection that really isn't just
They're a bunch of
it just isn't there.
anarcho-punks.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
They're trying to spend it on war money or something. I don't know.
They're stealing all this money set to Joan Jett's bad reputation.
We can get away with that because I didn't
Yeah,
even say all
there
the
you go.
words.
Right.
There's no infringement there.
So
None.
they left a gold brick in a hotel room that was like a lot more southern than they were planning on advancing to make them
Okay.
think that they were trying to skirt out the southern portion of India and escape the entire country and everything. But to no avail, the 4-man group was caught. And here's the best part is that during the interrogation process, the investigators found out that the lead man, like the guy who kind of really came up with the entire heist plot, got it from a movie, a Bollywood film called Doom.
Of course
right?
he did.
So if you're not familiar with the hit Bollywood film Doom, it is not the
It's not
first-person shooter thriller
Dwayne The Rock
movie,
Johnson
Dwayne The Rock
and
Johnson.
Carl Urban.
Keith Urban,
And Kevin Hart, I think.
It's
Kevin Hart.
Carl Urban.
I think it would have been more interesting with Keith Urban.
It might have been. Both Australian.
Right.
Oh my God! Wait, are they related?
Are you
Oh,
the same?
no.
Okay.
Nationalistic?
So during the interrogation process, they found out that they based it off of the plot of the movie Doom.
Yep.
And so and again, if you're not familiar with that movie, the plot of the movie Doom follows 4 motorbike.
Oh, that's how many friends
riders.
they had.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then 4 people, 4
right.
motorbikers, who also made a hole in the ground floor of a bank and got away with all the valuables.
But they didn't open a restaurant to do it.
No,
that was their own idea.
Right.
That's
originality. That's what Hollywood needs is new ideas.
Yes.
I really
they
think
need new ideas
restaurant.
fused into old ideas.
Right.
They made the restaurant first, and then they got the idea for the robbery. That's really what it was. The restaurant
like, this is
the
really
deal
hard.
didn't really pan out.
Right.
They kept arguing.
We
They're
spent
like,
all of our
It's gonna be a Chili's. We're
be
done.
Called Carl's, and another one's like, no, we should call it Stan's. And
right. So, so it was based off of the movie Doom, where the robbers basically did the exact same thing that
did
these
the robbers
men
get
did.
away with it?
No.
Like
so here's the thing: all of the people in the movie Doom die at the end. Spoilers. Sorry. Literally everyone in that movie gets caught and dies. So I don't know why they thought the plan would work in the first place.
Well,
we can do this better.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what they thought.
You know what, man?
the guys in that movie were idiots.
Right.
We opened
We're
a restaurant.
so smart.
We're geniuses.
Right? It should be the same. They're the same.
That's
But yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
much like the movie,
Yeah,
though.
why not?
They did
We're
not succeed.
basically these guys in this movie. I'm
Right.
Steve McQueen any day.
But yeah. So yeah, they
Or whoever the
Or at least-
Bollywood
That's what I'm
version.
about to say. The Bollywood equivalent of
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen.
Okay.
yeah. So that is my story of the 4 men who opened up a fake restaurant
Jesus.
to steal 4 microwaves worth of gold.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
So they didn't end up getting away with it.
No, they were all
unlike
caught
the
in-
gentleman in the film.
Right. Well, I mean, they didn't not get away with it. I guess. I mean, they died with their
they
boots
still
on.
did it.
Right. They did it.
And you know what? No, I can't spin that.
There's just no good way to spin this.
Yeah. It's you fucking how many years after the film did they wait?
You know
Because
what?
like
I
if
can
this
look
was
that one up
last
real
summer's hit blockbuster, like they didn't wait long enough. Like
quick. Right.
you know,
So the movie was released 3 years
3
before
years.
they did it.
Okay. So they were already writing and filming Doom 2, Electric Boogaloo,
Electric Boogaloo.
and these guys are like, it would be
There is a
great."
Doom 2
Of course,
released before the
Jesus.
November 24th, 2006. This happened in 2007, around New Year's.
So Doom 2 hadn't even left
Electric Boogaloo.
theaters yet.
There's a Doom 3.
Oh my God!
Oh
tell
my
me
God,
Doom
there's a
3
Doom 3.
follows the story of these guys because that would be the greatest.
that would be amazing.
That would be the best thing to happen to this story.
In the year 1990, the Great Indian Circus.
Okay, so it's a prequel. It's a prequel.
Dang.
Yeah. I don't know if they all die at the end of Doom 3 or not, but yeah. Amir Khan starring as Sahir Khan.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. It's like Will Smith playing Will Smith.
Yeah.
In
In the movie called Will Smith. Will
And,
Smith's
Fresh
having a
Prince.
bad day. But only
called
Will
Two
Smith
Brothers.
knows how to get down to it. It's called Will
That's
Smith.
So that story's ridiculous.
Question mark.
right.
Yeah. That's okay. Sure, why not?
Are you-
Patrick,
Are you ready?
I'm
Oh,
ready.
we're ready.
Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
I'm glad to hear it.
So the story that I will be telling you about is tied to the murder of Brian Douglas Wells. Hello and welcome to the Pizza Bomber.
The
man.
Pizza Bomber.
All right.
I like
I'm
pizza.
imagining you get a pizza, you open the pizza,
And boom.
you look inside, cartoon like black ball bomb.
Ziggy
No, it's
boogie
just
doo.
it's sprinkled over. It's sprinkled over the top of it. Like
Yeah,
it's,
like
Right.
tiny ones.
can I get
Tiny little bomb.
pizza with extra explosion, please?
Oh man.
Do you want that with a C4 or
This
without?
pizza's
Oh,
got
I'm
some
C4
zing
intolerant.
to it.
I want a
With the
C4
napalm
intolerant.
sauce, please.
So, okay. So the pizza bomber was a thing in 2003. When this guy, Brian Douglas Wells, got a call to deliver a pizza to an abandoned radio tower.
That's always a great
Right.
sign.
Yeah.
Well, Domino's
like, I
is doing
mean,
something like that now too. So
they're-
like you just
it's-
set up
Oh,
your
yeah,
location.
that's true. Hot spots.
Hotspots.
Oh my god.
They're hot
Domino's-
because of the explosions.
If someone pings you to an or like a
Abandoned radio
an
tower.
abandoned I was about to say electric boogaloo.
If somebody
An
invites you to an
electric
electric
boogaloo.
boogaloo,
Right.
If
I'm
somebody's
always
like, "Can you
going.
deliver it to the electric boogaloo?
Oh, which one? were
Where
you-
to?
Which
The
one? are you
electric
located?
boogaloo. But yeah, if safety tip to Domino's drivers, don't deliver to an abandoned
I
radio
mean-
tower. Come on.
He was like he worked at like a mom and shop pop like pizza thing. But
Okay.
anyway, so he went. He was apparently jumped by, in his words, several black men, and they strapped an explosive collar around his neck, where he then was forced to rob a bank. There is footage of him walking to the bank very casually. He's walking with a cane. He even like eats a lollipop at one point.
With a cane beforehand?
No, like he was using a cane, and
Maybe
like
they roughed him up real good.
and he
Oh,
like
yeah.
he handed a note to like the teller that said, "Hey, I have a bomb strapped to me. I need you to give me this much money."
Mm.
So that was a thing. And then he was caught, but they were holding him, and they were like, he's like, "Hey, I need to go. Like, there's a way to get the keys for this." And eventually the bomb ended up actually going off. Now imagine, if you will, you're sitting at home and you turn on the TV and you're seeing a breaking news story, live
no.
video footage.
Man with bomb collar tries to rob bank.
How
Oh,
could
and
this
then
go
like
wrong?
he's sitting in front of a police cruiser and he's on live TV and the bomb goes off on live TV and they literally recorded a man being killed.
Shit.
Yeah, on live TV. 2003. Stuff was edgier then. So this is where it gets weird.
That was journalism.
Real journalism. So they
I'm
found
imagining
out,
TMZ was there.
of
I
course,
don't know if they were, but I'm imagining that they were.
they would have naturally need to be
E-news.
there. So the big thing that happened was they looked in his car and they found out that he was actually sent to go get the money and then going to go on like an elaborate scavenger hunt to get the keys to this explosive
This is like
device.
a Saw film.
They were like, "Hey, go here to a certain place. This will have the clue to, like, this is the drop off point, and then from there go to this place." And like it was wild.
You've driven for a living. Now you'll
So-
have to drive fast if you want to stay alive.
This I mean, that would actually. Why isn't it
It's
anyway?
like the movie Speed.
Right? Why
Uh,
is this not the plot to Saw 9?
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be like Saw 11. There's
Well,
like
it's
10 Saw
spoilers, you know.
films.
I don't know. I stopped
And-
watching after 7.
Anyway, so they find out later, like through all of this, that it's actually this giant like robbery that was planned out between him, this lady known, her name is Marjorie Deal
He was
Armstrong,
in on it.
and Kenneth Barnes. Yeah, it's wild. It's actually there's a documentary series on Netflix about it called like Evil Genius.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
It was the it's all about that, and it's crazy. Like it started out, it was a botched thing. Apparently, they think that Brian Wells did not realize it was a real bomb. He thought he was led to believe it was a fake bomb, and then when it went off, like obviously he died. The problem is when the FBI and stuff were trying to like take the bomb off of him, they couldn't. They wanted to preserve the bomb. So instead of
Right.
trying
So
to
they
like,
could study it for
yeah.
posterity.
so they cut off his head. They cut off
Wow.
Brian Wells's head, so they could remove and make sure this bomb was better.
So I'm assuming it didn't
Grossly
get an open
mutilated.
casket.
No, then
Yeah.
and the family even complained about it.
Right.
Was like you grossly like
yeah, you
Cliff noted,
mutilated
you
this body.
grossly mutilated a family, like one of our family members.
I
to
feel
be
like
able to get a bomb off.
listen, they got the bomb on somehow.
Yeah,
You
but
could have got it off.
the thing is that the FBI didn't know anything about it, and since it was damaged, like
But it
clearly,
also had already gone off. So
Yeah,
like,
but they
you
wanted to be
couldn't
able to preserve-
redetonate it.
it wasn't that they wanted to redetonate it. They wanted to keep like as much of it intact so that they would be able to tell what is what, even after it's off. If random wires are, if you cut through wires, you would never know if they were if they were connected to anything. So I don't know. That's it. He tried making out with like. Oh God, hang on here. Let me double check my things and stuff and events. Here we go. Pizza delivery.
It's not DiGiorno for sure.
Robbery. No, not at all. He was going to rob the PNC Bank for $250,000.
He got his fucking. He got a bomb strapped to his neck and blown the fuck up.
Yep.
All part of the plan.
That he didn't realize was part of
That
the
he
plan.
didn't realize was part of the plan. So he could split 3 ways $250,000.
Right. Not to
Yep.
say that $250,000 isn't a lot of money. Not to say that
I mean,
$500,000 wasn't a lot of money.
No,
It's
no,
a
no.
quarter
And-
$1 million
but
dollars.
these
because
are
it is. To a
right.
lot of people, that's a lot
I
of
mean,
money.
yeah. I
To
mean,
me, that's a lot of money.
it is a lot of money. You know, even
quarter of $1 million.
But it is not
Right.
enough money to risk this much.
oh,
for.
never. No, I mean,
But that's the thing about heists. That's the thing about robberies is. To
you don't
that
expect to
person,
get caught.
You
You
don't,
don't
expect.
expect to get your
clearly.
fucking head blown off.
It was his chest. His head didn't actually get blown
Well,
off.
you know, that's true. They cut it.
They
right
cut.
off.
I mean,
It would have
that
made it
was
easier for the
FBI.
police.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
well, that's true. Yeah. If it just dislodged in the accident. Oh, it dislodged in the accident.
But yeah.
Oops.
Well, I mean, at least one
apparently,
good thing comes out of
The
today.
cane that he was walking out of was actually a gun. So like that was leading up to that. So they found those notes for the scavenger hunt. They found out the cane he was using was actually a gun, a cane gun.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's some
pretty-
James Bond
That's
shit.
pretty
Yeah.
sick.
If you look at the pictures of it, it's not as cool as you think it would be.
No.
I'm gonna leave it as really cool in my head.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I want it
refuse
to just be
believe that.
like a shotgun with a really
there
long,
it is.
skinny barrel.
That's
Okay, yeah, it's not nearly as cool.
it's not.
It's got a
Okay.
trigger, like a very noticeable trigger.
yeah,
Oh.
but like
And it's
love-
got one of those little orange caps at the end.
It
it's
just
safe-
shoots out a little
Hey.
flag that says "bang."
safety first.
Right.
But yeah, it the robbery led them to some other guy who like randomly died at the pizza shop, and the FBI was like, "We have no leads on this." And then somebody called the police on Marjorie Deal Armstrong because there was a body in his freezer.
What?
Wait, in
The guy who was reporting her, like saying, "Hey, you should come get her." He
because there's a body in his freezer.
in his freezer that he moved for her into his freezer because she wanted him to dispose of this
but
body.
he's
that
like,
she
I
killed."
didn't do anything wrong. I just
She-
moved the
Right.
body.
Yeah. She
Listen, I
was-
know
what
this
she
looks
was saying is
really
Lock
bad.
her ass up.
Her original thing was like that she didn't kill him and all this other stuff. However, eventually, like we also have to know, Marjorie Deal Armstrong was diagnosed bipolar. She had mental health issues, so like that is a thing. Well, it's not excusable. Like that's not
No,
an
no.
excuse. It's a fact that should be noted.
I
That she
just
wasn't mentally well, and so like
sure. But like, I
And-
also know lots of people with bipolar
Oh, yeah.
that have never strapped
Never-
a bomb to
yeah.
anybody's neck.
or like murdered anyone.
Yeah.
So, she also like earlier before all of this was charged and then later found not guilty of murdering her husband.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
Is that the body in the freezer?
No.
Oh my God,
That was her
it's-
So it's a
boyfriend.
different body.
Completely different.
Jesus
My God.
Christ.
It later
Jesus,
led.
Marjorie.
So yeah, this woman was just an
She-
evil woman.
She,
like,
An
she
evil
was,
genius.
Well,
An
she was
evil
an evil
genius.
genius. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it was the guy that was like, I forget his name, but she convinced him to move the body into the freezer, and then like eventually he went quiet. Was later like not charged because
Wait,
they
so
found
how
that he had
long
no
was this
connection
body?
to him. The
Like-
body was there for like I think a week or longer.
oh my God.
It was completely frozen solid. They had to thaw the freezer
Yeah,
in
I'm
order
trying to get to
thaw
my
the
venison,
body.
but
Oh
I
my
can't because there's
God.
this body in the way, and it's Marjorie's fault. And I would like you to come collect her, please?
Sir, why is there a
And
body in
the
your
other
freezer?
thing
Oh,
is,
well, I
too,
mean, I put
like,
it there.
I moved it for her, but it's on top of my venison, and I can't get
Right.
to it.
I realized that my
his
popsicle's
left
running
leg
into
is
my...
really like it's sandwiched in between there, and
I
before
can only
I
get
thought
one
it was
side
gonna
of the
be okay.
freezer open.
But yeah, and the other thing was she eventually I lost my train of thought. Sorry. She admitted to murdering the guy, in the freezer. She was trying to get out of all this other stuff. She tried to pin all of this crime and everything on her accomplice, the guy who put the body in the freezer. He actually ended up dying from cancer.
So it really was Saul.
Like he
Like,
Yeah.
That's such a hilarious thing.
yeah.
Like, unless you know Saw, no one will understand that reference. But yeah,
That's fair.
he pretty much
well, yeah.
like that's why
Yeah.
it was so
I'm
good.
sorry,
That's why I was
unless
like,
you
nice.
watched one of the greatest horror cult phenomenons of this decade.
as
you
a
only had to
movie-
get,
oh
what,
my God,
3
I just
movies
realized
deep?
that was last decade. Never mind. Go on.
Yeah, Saw 1 was
It was in 2004.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great movie then.
I mean, it revolutionized the genre and brought gore into mainstream. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, and apparently, like, she was ridiculous. Watch the documentary if you get the chance. It's very good. You can see how just wild and ridiculous everything was. She passed away last year. She died in prison.
Oh, shit.
But yeah.
So she was never, like, admitted into a institution
she
of any
was
sort.
She
Okay,
was
okay.
institutionalized. They found her guilty of stuff, and then she went away and
Right.
was essentially institutionalized for the rest of her life.
Right.
Yep. She in the documentary, it's really weird. Like, they show older pictures of her, and I hate to be this guy, but she was like, they describe her as like being attractive and how she could get men to do anything that she wanted them to. And I could see where that was. Like, older pictures of her, she's kind of a hottie. But eventually she's just started, like, they have inmate
And then it
interviews.
just maybe became like a challenge with herself.
Right, like, what can
more
I-
and more
yeah.
ridiculous things can I make men do?
Well, it's either that.
At first
I
it was
mean,
like,
it could be
Right,
that,
'cause, I mean,
give me
everyone-
your car, and then they would give her their car.
Right.
And then
maybe. But
it was
like
all right, put this collar on. all
she
right.
she started to get, like, you would they had inmate interviews, and they would the inmates were like, who were like, they were in the same place as her and stuff like that. They would talk about how she would have one face for the guards and one face for, like, everyone else, and how she would, like, some days just stand in front of, like, a reflective surface and just shave her eyebrows
Oh,
for like 4 hours, just so that people would think that she's crazy.
a good, clean 4-hour eyebrow shave.
Yeah,
That's-
it's
that's
really
what I need.
through. You
That's
get
part of
the
my everyday
you gotta
regimen.
you gotta get all the follicles.
Yeah,
And,
all the
Right.
skin from away from where your eyebrows used to be.
yeah,
Then you
I think
create
she
new
listened to a lot of
eyebrows
Pink
out
Floyd
of-
at the time too.
Right.
Sure.
That was awful. Anyway, but yeah, so
Holy
that's
shit.
it. Obviously, like, it didn't happen. Like, it was bungled. The guy
Yeah.
robbing was murdered. So
Right. Well, it's yeah.
yeah,
A robbery turned murder.
Right, yep.
9/11.
Yep.
Holy shit. All right. Well, hell.
That's 3 stories.
That's 3 stories, kids. Hey, well, thank you guys for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank
coulda-
you for
I
Those
having
were
me.
some
could've
fucked up heists and robberies and...
I'll tell you my original story though. My original story. Have you ever heard about the time that 3 casinos got robbed? at the
Okay,
same
all
time?
right. Listen, we've run out of time, and we don't have time for the entire plot of 2001's critically acclaimed Ocean's 11 starring George
What about
Clooney
And
versus
Ocean's
Matt
12?
Damon.
And Ocean's 13. I was gonna go through
Right.
all of them.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll have to. We'll do that.
It'll
Hey,
be
we'll-
on the parody podcast called Pro Anti-Fiction. It's a
Oh, yeah,
podcast.
that's the one that we
Anti-fiction.
talked about doing.
It's the
Right.
one that it stars
Yeah.
me, and all I do is I take the episode that was previously released and I completely parody it and talk about nothing but how I'm going to steal
Right.
this show
Uh,
from Christian. That's what this week's episode is going to be called. It's called How to Steal a Show from Christian, starring me. Let's begin.
Thank you guys, I guess, for being on the podcast. And Of
Are you-
course,
oh, yeah.
you can follow Patrick on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat,
Anything.
et cetera. Anywhere but real life. Don't follow in real life.
I guess you could for a while. I watched the movie It Follows. It wasn't that bad.
Why not? But you can follow him at Peculiar Patrick on any of your social media device client
Interfaces.
interfaces. And then, of course, you can follow Anti-Fiction on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Anti-FictionCast. And you can email us at antifictioncast@gmail.com. Feel free to send us, ideas that you have for topics, because God knows I can't come up with fucking all of them, guys. But you can send us your hate mail, your fan mail, your
Pictures of your dog.
pictures of your. I was hoping
Send
it was
us
going to end with
pictures.
any word other than I thought that it would.
Pictures of books. Your nonfiction
Listen, you can
books.
send us pictures of whatever you want. Just like,
No unsolicited dick
Don't.
books, please.
yeah,
Send
just
those
don't do
to
it. You can,
at-
but don't.
Peculiar Patrick. Slide in those DMs.
Anyway,
Slide 'em right in there.
that'll do it for this week. We will see you next Wednesday. I should point out, next Wednesday will actually for real be the Con Artist Volume, or I'm sorry, not Con Artist Volume 2, Conspiracies Volume 2. Con Artist Volume 2 is forthcoming. Conspiracies Volume 2 for real.
Fourth.
Conspiracies 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Conspiracies 2, Electric Boogaloo. We'll see you next week.
Is that just gonna
Conspiracies 2, Electric
Is that
Boogaloo.
going to become your new thing?